Hello everyone, back again. I got a recommendation to talk about pseudo legendary Pokemon from Silent Castle. So I haven't looked at stats, I haven't looked at a lot of stuff, and I barely even am prepared for this, so I'm just gonna go with it. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this, and then maybe make my actual video later on down the road. So I'm gonna go down the list in the order which they were released, I believe, and we'll go from there. So the first one is Dragonite. It's the Gen 1. One thing about the pseudo-legendaries is most, if not all of them, have 4 times weaknesses, because obviously you think they're very strong, they have to have a downside. A lot of them are dragons, especially early. So, yeah, Dragonite's pretty decent. He's definitely not the number 1 by stats and whatnot, I know off the top of my head. He sometimes struggles to get like a one-hit knockout. His speed is okay, but it's not the greatest. I haven't seen the Mega Dragonite. I'm not necessarily counting that. I'm just counting the original Dragonite here in this situation. If you have any questions, please ask, and we'll go from there, because I can't, if I'm wrong, then correct me or whatever. That's fine. I'm trying to learn here too. So that's the Gen 1 pseudo-legendary. Obviously these are harder to obtain, or almost like impossible, maybe, at some points, depending on the game. Unless you trade or something like that, or have a certain item. And they all take a lot of time to level up. So that is Dragonite, the Gen 1 pseudo-legendary. The legendary pseudo-legendary for Generation 2 is Tyranitar. He's one of my personal favorites. He's very good at attack, very good defensively, and I think he's better in one defense than the other, and his speed is slow. He gets access to Dragon Dance if you can get the egg move. I know on Pokemon XD you can get Dragon Dance. Honestly, I'm not saying I don't like Dragon Dance. I like to have the coverage on him, and I feel like he's already on the board, he's already taking damage, so I personally can get away with not using it. It's fun when you can use it, but yeah, it's just one of those things. So yeah, he's one of my personal favorites. I use him every time I can, especially in the post game on XD is the one with the Dragon Dance, and then Coliseum you catch the Tyranitar as the secondary boss legendary. So yeah, that's Tyranitar. He's rock and dark. I'm not really going into the Mega because I don't really have that much experience with it, honestly. I remember Silent and I did a battle, and he was facing Blaziken. I forget what happened, but I just remember it was a fun battle from back in the day on X and Y, Omega, Alpha, whatever it was. Gen 3 is going to be Salamence. I don't consider Flygon a pseudo-legendary. I think Salamence is a pseudo-legendary there. Once again, one of my personal favorites. He's 4 times weak to ice, of course. He can get moves like Dragon Dance, which also is pretty good. A lot of times I don't really need Dragon Dance. Another thing I find kind of weird, kind of nice and weird about it is you may not even have a stab move for him, which means a dragon or a flying move, which seems very weird, but unless you're running into other dragons or need some coverage, you're kind of okay without. And so then, yeah, that's just my opinion. I think he's got very decent speed. He's not as fast as Garchomp, but he's quite good for his time, I would definitely say. I think he's just solid, yeah. I think we could say that. As for Gen 4 is Garchomp. I think he has the possibility, at his level, he was one of, if not the best Pokemon for his generation. You could probably say the same about, yeah, maybe even Dragonite. I mean, he was pretty good. I don't know if he was the best. You could probably say the same about Tyranitar and Salamence, because Tyranitar even got play in Generation 3, thankfully, which is very nice. Because I've played more Tyranitar in Generation 3 than on 2 or probably any other generation but like maybe 6. So, you know, they are kind of hard to obtain, and sometimes you just use something different. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Garchomp is used by Cynthia, and she's known to be a very strong opponent on every game. It's fast and it hits hard. That's what I like. And he's weak to fairies now. He didn't used to be, obviously, before they really pushed fairies a little more, or created them. And then, obviously weak to ice, so 4 times weak to ground and dragon. So you gotta watch out for those. But yeah, theoretically, he's gonna be so fast where he's at least gonna get an attack off. Unless you like switch in and they have an ice move or something. I don't do switch-ins and all that, so really I try not to. I think that's a little too more like competitive, yippee type deal. So maybe Silent and I will do some of those, but I feel like we have an agreement where we don't do that. If we want to do that, we can, but I don't like the idea of I'm going to switch and you don't know that I'm going to switch type deal. I don't know if that makes sense or not. To me, it makes sense. As for Generation 5, there's Hydreigon, and I apologize if I miss any. I'm doing this off the top of my head. There might technically be another Pseudo Legendary, which really Pseudo Legendary is just like a fan-made term or whatever. Or I don't know that Pokemon really ever acknowledged that term, or if they did, maybe they didn't until the fans came up with it. But long story short, you also have Hydreigon. I like him a lot. He didn't really have 4 times weakness until fairies, I don't believe. So he had excuse me, I'm trying to think of, yeah, he was just weak to ice and dragons. So that's pretty good. He is, at the time, I know he was like the very hardest Pokemon to evolve by level up, because he's like level 64. And then if you don't know, Die, Zwei, and Dry are 1, 2, and 3 in German. So that's where they threw Dino or Dino. Zweiless, which the W is pronounced as a V in German pronunciation. And then Hydreigon. So yeah, he's pretty good. I don't know that his speed is outstanding. I think his attacking power is very good. He's got a good typing, in my opinion. He gets the stab dark moves, which can be nice, of course. I guess it would be resisting ghost types, maybe. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. And he also gets flash cannon, so that's very nice for getting rid of the fairies that you're going to be weak to. Generation 6, we have, excuse me for a second, Goodra. Yeah, I like Goodra a lot. I think it is mostly defensive. I don't think his speed is outstanding. I think his attack is pretty good. And when I say attack, I mean attacking damage and whatnot. Whether it's HP, defense, whatever, he's going to take some hits, which is nice. You want a Pokemon that's going to last, so he works in that way. He's very good at that. He's hard to obtain. You have to level him up. You have to evolve him in the rain. He's Pure Dragon, which that is the first Pseudo that I can think of that, excuse me. I just thought of something else. The first Pseudo that is a Pure type. So, yeah, I think he's good. Another Pokemon going back to Generation 3 I totally glossed over. There was 2 of them in that, which is Metagross. Metagross is a Steel Psychic, which is very good typing. I'm still lost on how, when you mix types, which ones resist and which don't. I don't know if ground, or if, I think that Steel would resist Dark out of that, would be the idea. So really, his weaknesses are like Fire and Ground, I think, and he's just really good. I think he can get Magnet Rise or whatever. He's very good in double battles, I feel like, because you can spam, like, Earthquake, and spam Protect, any of that stuff you need. I think that's a very good strategy for him. He's not that fast, but you can get him into Agility. He's very much an attacker, in my opinion. He actually has decent attack and special attack from what I remember. And he has moves to raise his power as well. I don't usually use them that much, so I'm just going over everything in my head that I can think of. I have some books in here in front, that I could theoretically look at and kind of give the information out of the book what it's kind of telling me. So yeah, I'm definitely more of a Generation 1 to 6 player. That's really where I know my stuff. I still know a lot about the other games, but it's nothing like the original. And that may just be also because I've had more time to play them. So Generation 7, I really like Komodo, the next Pseudo Legendary. He is Fighting and Dragon, which means he is 4 times weak to Fairy. I think he's very good. I don't know that he's the fastest, but I know he hits hard. Obviously, I mean, Fighting and Dragon, you're gonna definitely have some good attack power. Generally Electric and Flying are your very speedy type Pokemon. I don't know that his defenses are that great either. I don't know that he's like bad at bad at defenses or speed necessarily, but I just don't think that he's the guy you put out like starting first or really thinking you're gonna get outspeeds and get some quick knockouts. So that's my opinion on him. I've used him in competitive, and in my opinion, I had like a 12 Pokemon group that I just used. Whether they were good, bad, or indifferent, I used them. And I won a decent amount of battles. I lost quite a few too. I didn't really know all what I was doing, but when I was playing on Pokemon Showdown, I did okay with those. And those were like Ash Greninja, Snorlax, Slacking, Mega, Alakazam, Komodo, Landorus. Man, I only named like half of them. I need to be able to think of some more of them. I don't know if there are any other starters. I might have used like a Gutra or something. I don't feel like that's right though. Because I usually only use one of each type, so I would have used like Slacking or Snorlax at the time, depending on the battle. I know I didn't use like Ferrothorn and freaking Toxapex or whatever that garbage was. I didn't like that. Everyone was using it in that type deal, but that's how it was. Those are the ones off the top of my head that I was using, because a lot of them were banned, obviously, so I just picked like some of my more favorite ones. I think I might have used Espeon. I think I used Espeon when I didn't use Espeon or Gardevoir when I didn't use Mega Alakazam. Those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. I have no clue. Maybe if I saw the Pokemon in front of me, I could look through them and identify, but you got me at this point. Apologies. Generation 8, which is Sword and Shield, excuse me. The Pseudo Legendary on that. You'll have to give me a quick moment here. Racking my brain for who that would be. Pseudo Legendary Generation 8. I'm gonna look it up here. I know plenty of people have done these videos and stuff. This is more like a fun video. I feel like I'm kind of like, in the sense of I'm not the most competitive trainer or whatever, but if you're like a low tier necessarily, like if you're new, I can kind of guide you in the right direction, because I'm kind of like in the middle tier. I played for a long time, but I don't know everything. So if you're running into me, you can learn more about some of the stuff to kind of maybe make you better, or however way you want to learn, you want to say it. You can learn a lot more stuff. Gen 8 Pseudo Legendary. I apologize, I cannot remember who it is. I'm sure I've used him plenty of times. Oh, Dragapult! Yeah, I haven't really used him that much, honestly. Dragon Ghost. Very strange type. I think he works. I'm pretty sure he is fast. It says that he can get Curse Body, which is very crazy of an ability. Basically means if you're using it, your opponent might lose the ability to use the attack that it used on you. So obviously, if they're going to try to spam the same move, such as like a Dark Pulse or something like that, it could get rid of it. It's just one possibility for it. And then another thing is, it may have to make contact. I do not know. I apologize. I don't have the information right in front of me right now. Leon uses it on Sword and Shield. I don't have a lot to say about him. I honestly haven't used him enough. So, I think that's my opinion on it. And then for Generation 9, I've never used this Pokemon, which is Baxcalibur. I believe he is Dragon Ice, so I'm going to look at Dragon Ice as Kyurem. Obviously, Kyurem was made to be broken too. The regular Kyurem is pretty decent. So, I mean, Dragon Ice is pretty decent of a type. The main weaknesses would probably be, like, depending on your resistances and stuff. I'm actually going to look this up, so I, don't lie or anything. But, I was recording a video in the other room. That's why I didn't have the phone on in front of me. That would have been a nice little thing. So, it says Steel, Fighting, Rock, Fairy, and Dragon. Okay, so yeah, the ice doesn't resist the dragon. So he's got a decent amount of weaknesses, but he's quite good. So this one says Dragon, Fighting, Rock, Steel. Oh, that's from 2012. It says it resists water, electric, and grass. Okay, so yeah, there's a good chance that people are carrying water, electric, and grass moves, theoretically, because 2 of them are starter types. Obviously, he can morph into White and Black Kyurem, which White Kyurem is more of a special attacker, I believe. And Black is... I forget, because Zekrom I feel like is more of a physical attacker. So I would think Black Kyurem would be the one that has physical attack. And then White Kyurem would have more special attack. Because Zekrom, honestly, when I used to play him in black and white, he would have a lot more physical attacking moves. He would have like Zen Headbutt, he had Stone Edge, he had different moves like that. Where I feel like, the other was the opposite. So let me look here. I'm looking at Pokemon Database. And I'm scrolling through here so I can at least have some level of information in front of me. So, White Kyurem is definitely the special attacker. Okay, I thought I was right on that. It has 170 special attack and 120 base in attack. And 125 HP, 90 defense, 100 special defense. So decent defenses and 95 speed. So it's not the fastest necessarily, but it is very comparable to other Pokemon. There's, if you run into a Pokemon that's really fast and outspeed you, it is what it is. You want to either be fast or defensive, in my opinion. That's the first thing. If you're just an attacker, you're probably not going to last too long, honestly. Because you could get knocked out before you even get an attack off. And attack is, like, probably my favorite thing of it. But, I mean, that just seems like it makes sense to me. Like, if you're just going to get knocked out because you're not fast or defensive enough, that's just how it is. Like, there's some Pokemon that are like that. Like, Rampardos, I feel like, Alakazam, 2 of my favorite Pokemon, but they're not very fast. Or not, excuse me. I apologize. I was wrong on Alakazam. Alakazam is fast and hits hard, but it has no defense. Rampardos is just hits hard. So you can get knocked out in one shot. So you really have to make that first thing work on Alakazam. Like, you want to set up a light screen, or you want to get a quick knockout, hopefully go 1-for-1, knock out a Pokemon, and then he's going to get knocked out on your next battle. I actually need to make some more Verlisify videos. I forgot all about that. It's been a long time since I uploaded some of his older stuff, which I really enjoy. For me, it's easier to keep up with the older stuff and understand it. And I thought he did a really good job on Omega, Alpha, X, and Y, like team builds and such. And then I would go in and screenshot, and I'd take notes, end up using the paper and have the game or whatever at some point. But add it to the endless to-do list. So, here's a decent little fun video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, learned something, whatever. Go ahead, blast me in the comment section for whatever. I got more coming out for this, hopefully at some point. I may only be able to talk about a limited amount of them, depending on if I have my phone available, or what the books say. Yeah, but this is like mostly off my head. This is not, most of this information is not off the internet, factual or other people's opinion. This is actually my opinion of my experiences with these Pokemon. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed. It's just for fun. The whole point is to have fun with all this stuff. Making content and playing Pokemon and whatnot. Don't be too serious. I feel like that's a whole video. What to be serious about, what not to be serious about. And one thing not to be serious about is the gaming or whatever, video games and stuff you're supposed to have fun with. Yeah. And then if you're battling people competitively, you're kind of setting yourself up. You know the downside of it. You know people are going to be trolls and whatnot. That's how it's going to be. And even the trolls, like the Toxapex and Ferrothorn and all that, like, everyone starts copying it and all that. You know how that is. So you're either going to play it or you're going to find a way to beat it. That's how it goes. So, I mean, especially when I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something, and I'm playing a very troll deck that no one wants to play against. I like playing it on the video games and whatnot, so no one actually has to duel against it and then just be upset because they don't like a certain thing. But there's certain people that don't like a lot of things, so it's kind of hard when you have 3 or 4 decks ready and you're playing and they don't like to lose anything. Like if you have one monster that can just beat everything in one attack, it's very different from Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously, or from Pokemon. You have a point system and then you work your way down based on it. And now the monsters are very easy to summon, to bring out, and to attack for a lot of damage. And you can just win the duel. Win the battle, however you want to say it, for Yu-Gi-Oh! Players and whatnot. Just to get a parallel there, they're significantly different in competitive Pokemon, competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! So I think that's a whole other video. So, I mean, I can easily write whole pages of things I need to work on for videos, but I'm really trying here to get what I can done. I'm trying to do other important things. So, I appreciate you guys. God bless. Have a good rest of... Well, we're basically starting a new week since it's Tuesday now, and Monday, Tuesday is usually my fun days at best, and we'll go from there. This is when the content is recorded. Thank you. God bless.